Let's get started. Here's the the numbers coming out today. This is Pacific time. So these are going to be an hour before open. You have jobless claims and continuing jobless claims. That's really what you want to watch for. The home sales, that'll hit the market and probably not be good, but I don't think that'll probably just make something bad worse. We'll see how these go, how the jobless claims and continuing jobless claims. Right now, the market's bearish. It has not discounted. It hasn't discounted anything. It hasn't discounted nearly enough. It should be down 6% just off the oil spike alone. So that's why I haven't been really bullish on the market. Now the market hasn't wrecked yet. It hasn't sold down to 24,000. It hasn't even broken 24,336. But I expect it to do that. I expect us to hit our head right here, this zone. Maybe we bounce all the way up to here, but who knows? And then I think we sell down, and I think we break this one today. We'll see, though. I just don't think the market is discounted enough from the war, from the oil shock. Every $10 increase in oil should be about like a 2% decline in the market just because of rising energy costs. And we didn't see that. They didn't believe oil was going to stay elevated. They thought this war was going to be 4 days and over. And that's turning out not to be true. So they should start discounting the market now. That's my guess anyways. Not to mention the inflation's ticking up and the jobless claims are ticking up. So it's looking more like stagflation, which is not good. Yeah, if we do go up, I mean, 25,000 would be resistance, I would think. I'm looking somewhere in 24,000. Yeah, somewhere down here for support. VIX again. VIX looks like it wants to shoot up. And here's this line right here. $25, we'll call that. If VIX breaks 25.10, if it can set up above 25.10, I think we're in go mode for VIX, which is bad for the markets. Again, it's all going to depend on those numbers. Those numbers will move the market, but the market right now has a tendency to want to go down. Here's oil. My breakout line for oil is 98.45. Really, it's going to be 100. It's going to fight 100. They are desperately trying to keep it under 100. But as world oil prices climb, U.S. oil prices will follow. Now, our oil is still cheap locally because we haven't been affected, but eventually everybody's going to come in to bid on that cheap oil. So it won't stay cheap for very long. Let's go look at the Qs. Again, I don't invest in this stuff, sometimes I'll day trade it, but I got out of tech in the summer. Tech, I don't like the charts in tech. I want to be in energy and commodities. Here's the daily, and this looks to me like we're finally getting ready to roll over and out of this. The 50's starting to turn down. 555 is my landing zone. But I think we'll probably bounce here at 580 or so. Yeah, 579, 580. And it might be all the way. No, I think you go down to 582. And then I think you see a bounce, but I would be very cautious of that bounce. Let's go to the hourly. The upper expected move is 600. So it's about this downtrend line. So it expects us to follow this downtrend, this white one here. So that would be your expected high for the day. Your expected low is down at 588, which isn't very far from where we're at, which is why I think we can come down here to 580. I don't think they've discounted the market enough, and I think if it wants to sell, it'll do it quickly. So my numbers say 588 is the expected lower move today, but I think it's 580. 582, maybe we go all the way down to that range. The 5-day moving average is right at 599.20. So it's just below this. So we might spike up, tag that 5 MA, and then roll over. In which case I could see like a 588 holding for today. That'd be a big shift from basically 600 to 588. Yeah. But those are the ranges for today. There's the 5 minute, just to zoom in. This is bullish falling wedge. That just means you're going to get a spike. It doesn't mean you're turning bullish. So that should be a 3-wave move. So you went 1, now you come down for 2. So you should come up for 3 and test this, which is 597.88. Yeah, I think you can probably push to the 5 MA. Maybe you do that. Yeah, we still have about an hour and a half before data gets released. So yeah, maybe we do spike up here and then data comes out and we roll over. I don't know. I don't control the market. I just know that down is where it wants to go. That's rolling over. That has been rolling over. Starting to flatten out, but I would not be bullish with weekly candles that look like this. See those wicks? That's a lot of price rejection. No. Look how it's all at the 5 weekly moving average. No. Do we think we're suddenly going to get a yes? I don't think so. Yeah, look at your monthly. Your monthly is just rolling over. You're hanging out here in no man's land. There is nothing between you and 555, which is where my bottom is. I think you drop this. Boom. Okay. Let's look at some. And the Houthis are hitting the Houthis. Iran is hitting natural gas facilities now because Israel targeted theirs. And so these are, look at this, just turning up on the monthly. And look at this chart. Look at this chart. And it's just turning up. It's just starting to break out. How stupid is that? I mean, this thing is going to go parabolic. Look at this thing. I love these when they come down and then screaming out like that. Oh, I love these. Yeah, that had a huge day yesterday. And then some other ones are next. There's one. See that one break out? Now that one has some room to go. There. I'm pretty sure that's the right one. Liquefied natural gas. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this thing's just starting to go. Beautiful. And then I do not recommend this. This is a tax nightmare. But that looks like, why are we rolling down here? We should not be down. We should be up. Look at this thing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we should be. We should be going up. We should be following this LNG. What happened here? And why isn't this on my weird? Look at that 50. That 50 is about to cross. Okay. So other ones big in the oil or natural gas is Chevron, because natural gas is a byproduct of oil recovery. So Chevron's going to benefit. Look at that. I said when this thing, I said this thing was going to fly. And there we go. We just keep pushing up. This is, I don't know what to say. Here's another one, Phillips 66. And these guys have Phillips and Chevron both have huge stakes in Canadian oil. And that's a huge deposit or reserve, whatever you want to call it. Look at this, just breaking out. This is just getting ready to rip. Look at that. Jeez. And there she goes. That's the world of oil stocks. Let's check on my boys at Rig. Turning down. I don't know if I believe that. That's a bearish engulfing. That's fine. If they want to drop Rig. And this would be more of a recession move. Oil dropping. And that may be the play if jobless claims come out increasing. So you could see a drop in oil stocks, but that is a buy. That is a time to get involved. Yeah, these look like they're rolling over, which is A, B, C, come down to 237 on WTI. Wow, that would be like a scare. What about Indo? And again, this is a Middle East play because the more oil gets jammed up in the Middle East, the more Japan and Korea and China will search for oil elsewhere. And the closest would be Indo. That's why I like Indo. Looks like we're starting to turn up. It really wants to break out of this 5. Look at this. Every time it does, they shoot it down. But look at this 50 just creeping up. It's going to break these. One day coming up here, it's going to break these. It'll be such a big day that they just can't hold it down any longer. And you're going to get a move like this. When that day comes, I don't know. I can't tell you the day. I just buy the dip as this goes and wait for that day. High peak, here's one I'm in. We're at the 200, so I would expect resistance here. Drop down to 630. And that would go along with everything else. Selling, just kind of a panic day. I'd be all right with that. Here's the hypers. SMR just signed a deal with EEE. No, that's not right. With this one to provide reactors for oil processing plants. Oil processing plants use a lot of heat and steam, and they would like to use this clean energy in producing that rather than the natural gas that they use now, because that would allow them to sell the natural gas if they could produce their own steam. So they signed a deal with SMR. These, I call them hypers, but they're just individual reactors. These are iffy to me because they could hold and reverse. This sure doesn't look like it. Sure looks like it wants to turn down. And if it does, that would, I mean, it could go $9. It could go $7. but somewhere in there. And yeah, I will absolutely chase these all the way down because I believe this is the future of energy, which we're going to need a lot of. Oklo had their breakout before earnings, kind of during earnings, and then breakdown yesterday. But we've still held this low. 1, 2, 3. That looks like a three-wave move though. So this looks like it wants to push down, which I would think that would be it could push all the way down to 38. It could push it all the way down to 24. So we could get something ugly. SMR, I have a 7 to 9 range that it could go to if it wants to drop. It could, yeah. But again, I'm not afraid of picking these up at the drop. When I buy these, I sell calls on them. All these bounces, I've been selling calls. I have sold calls just because I've been rolling these, but I'm not shorting these like I am, say, miners. I'm short Hecla. And that's turning out well. I'm short SBSW. That turned out well. And I'm short USAR. And I'm actually covering this here at 1775. So I'll start covering this USAR right in here. Hoping this holds. Let's see. Let's see if I still believe that. $17.72. Yep. Should hold in that range. That's what I'm looking at. If not, this could be a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I don't know how you get that. I was thinking this might be a 1. Well, it could be like a 1, 2, 3, or an ABC to be more accurate. And then you could get a drop down to 14. And that would make sense too. But again, this is something that I want to start accumulating and picking up, especially if it's going to drop to 14. All right. These look to be turning up. How interesting. I don't trust that though. Oh, that looks ugly. Yeah, I don't trust any of these. I think Abercrombie could close this gap down to 68. Again, I'm out of that sector. I moved to oil. In this, I'm out of AAOI. I don't trust that chart. That flew really high, so it has a long way to come down. Let's look at qubits because I'm short quantum. Oh, there we go. I was short all through this. Da, 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 and just waiting for this breakdown. And again, some people follow me and they want instant results. I'm not about instant results. I'm about shorting this because I know it's not going to go up from here. And so I waited whatever these days are, and now I'm getting paid. Let's look at triple D. We should hold 188. That's what I'm looking for there. Planet Labs, this looks like a drop. Let's look at the king here. Let's look at ASTS. Oh, that's going to drop. Again, I sold calls on this. I didn't buy puts, but I sold calls. Well, maybe I should buy a put. We'll see. Let's look at Iridium. That had our breakout. We had a lower divergence. So we should come down here. So we should get another drop. And then hopefully we resume. Yeah, that's just a little setback. That 50 still looks like it wants to cross that 200. Yeah, I'm all right with this. I still think we want to close this gap up here at 32. So I'm still in Iridium. Let's look at Cliff. I am short Cliff. And this is just starting to get ugly. I don't like that. That worries me. We could come down to 580. And then if we break 560, that is really, really worrying some for me. I really hope we don't do that in Cliff, but it's always a possibility. UMAC had that big day 2 days ago. I sold out at the top. Not sold out. I sold my options. I sold options on it. And so this day I was just waiting because I think we come down again. 1668 is where I'm looking to add UMAC. Another one. Let's see how Huntsman's holding up. This is one that I'm long. This is middle of nowhere. I think this wants to go up, but that's going to be very difficult if the market is going down. This is a petroleum-based specialty product manufacturing, so their product is about to get very expensive. We had the breakout, so we could come down and test this. That would be fine. 1059 on Huntsman. Again, this is something that I want to accumulate because of that chart. And that chart is a thing of beauty to me. This is a bunch of overlap for the entire life of this company. And then ever since 2022, we've just been selling down to correct this entire life of the company move. And now we're done correcting it. And so we're coming out. So this is, I have a stupid targets on these. 47 to start, 72, and we could push up to 112. And again, this is a monthly chart, so this is looking years into the future. So I'm not saying this will run tomorrow, but this is what I'm accumulating because I have high targets in the future. All right. I think I've babbled on long enough, huh? Let's close it out with the cues again. Okay, I'm not in stocks that most people are in. I sold out of those. I don't think that's where you want to be right now. All those popular stocks, unless you want to be short them. I want to be in commodities, specifically energy. I want to start looking at the metals. I always buy gold, silver, and oil. Basically, just the commodity complex right there. Okay, there's the 5 minute. We're an hour away from data dropping. It looks like it wants to try to bounce from here, but it is not having any love getting a bid. People are really hesitant to put their money out there. I don't blame them. All right. And that is where I'll close. The projected move for today, again, the low, 588. The projected high, 600. The 5-day moving average is right at 599.20. So if you're not above that, then my belief is you don't hold instruments overnight if you're not above the 5-day moving average. So you don't hold long instruments overnight if you're not above the 5-day moving average. So 599.20 is where we would have to be above for me to be, well, that would cause I would cover shorts at that point, probably. It all depends on how the chart looks to me, but yeah, that's your line in the sand, 599.20, the 5-day moving average. Most likely we bounce our head off that and drop down to probably that 588. I think if things get crazy, we could go down to 580. And I think this is eventually where we go, either today or tomorrow, before we get a bounce. And at that point, we probably get a decent rally just because it'll be sold so hard. All right. That's all I got. I'll end it there. Be safe, be wise, be bold, and as always, good luck.